Hi, it's Fiona from Get Your Rock Out. Get Your Rock Out.
Get your rock out.
That's the one. I'm here with Brad from the Massive. Hi, great to meet you.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
I'm very pleased to meet you. So you've just played your show. It sounded awesome. How was it for you?
I love it. This is, I think it's gig number 8 tonight of our UK tour. It's getting better and better. I don't know if we're getting more tired and more delirious or not, but we're loving every show. So, you know, every place we come, we meet great new people, and somehow I still have a voice, and somehow we're still standing. We haven't had a fight yet, so we're doing really good. Love it.
Is that something that's likely to happen then, tour bus fights?
You're in a cramped space for a long time, and I don't think we fight. It's always like you know, whose turn is it on the PlayStation, or you know, stop for a toilet break when we don't have time, or I need a packet of cigarettes and we don't have time, or little finicky things that shouldn't happen. But you know, we're the best of friends, so we get along very well.
A bit like touring with your brothers then.
It's more than that. Oh yeah, it's touring with your brothers, touring with your whole family. Really, you got the tour manager up the front, got the label up the front, directing and saying what we should and shouldn't say, and we're at the back drinking beers and going whatever. It happens.
So, tour manager, do you have people then whose job is to keep an eye on you? Is that then to make sure you don't get into trouble?
Over here, we have a full-time minder. If you ever see us in Australia, we like to party a little too hard, and I don't think the label trusted us, so they gave us a full-time. This is your wake-up time. This is your go-to-bed time. This is your time you're getting in the van, and this time you're on stage. And we're here, aren't we? So he's getting paid very well, and he's doing a very good job.
Let's see, we're not usually like this in England at all. We don't like rules, as a you know, in general, rules isn't our thing. So you're quite unlucky to get him, I guess.
I know. I've heard some stories. In Australia, we call Britain binge Britain, so because you drink unbelievably well, and I'm sure you've heard the stories that we drink unbelievably well. But Jaeger bombs here are £2.50 in Australia. That's not a real thing, mate.
Really?
$10 for a Jaeger bomb.
$10. What does that equate to?
£6.
Really?
So we're having a lovely time. Thanks for asking.
So it's out with the Jaeger then.
It's a lovely drink, and thanks for making it so cheap for us. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So I'm just thinking about you were saying before about the tour bus, and somebody's always going to want to stop for a wee and that. Who's the most likely to want to stop at an inconvenient moment?
That would be our lead guitarist, Ben Laguda. He is the king at surviving somehow and stuffing everything else up very well. Enough said.
Yeah, I think we're moving swiftly on, I think. So you've just released an album, yeah? Yes. When was that released?
In Australia, it was released last year, but it got picked up by Earache Records, so it got released July 21st over here, and the rest of the world. It's doing very well. It was got featured on the front cover of Classic Rock, which is a huge honour for us. Like, it's amazing. Like, it's huge over in Australia, and it's even bigger here. So that was a big boost, and I mean, even here, people are coming up with the Classic Rock edition of our album. So it's made us a lot of friends and fans, and yeah, it's been great. The response has always been really, really good. So we're stoked. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear, because it sounds really good. I think we gave it, Get Your Rock Out gave it a pretty good review. So go and check it out.
Yes, buy it.
It was actually Rachel there. So hello, Rachel. It was actually Rachel that reviewed it.
Oh, thank you very much. And for all you listeners at home and viewers at home, buy it, because we have no way of getting home yet, and we're running out of money. Not really. We got plenty of money where we're from. No, we don't. Bands don't make any money, but we look good doing it. So.
Well, that sounds like that's something that's very similar. Is that bands don't make any money being in a band? So that's the same in Australia as it is in England, then, is it?
It's a bit more so. Australia's so vast. There's 6 major cities, and in between, there's towns and big hubs. But I mean, we live in Melbourne, which is the bottom end, and it's 10 hours to Sydney, which is the next closest city. Yeah, and there's Canberra and there's Albury and there's little towns and there's places. But if you want to do a major city tour, there's 4 cities on the east coast, and you know you can fly if you want, but we drive everywhere in a van. So it's hard to make a living off touring, and no one makes money off CDs anymore. So that's why a lot of Australian bands come overseas and try and slog it out over here. And it's always been that way. I mean, AC/DC have done it in the 70s they came to Europe and the UK to do it. Airborne have been doing it for the last 6 or 7 years. So I think it's almost an Australian thing now. Is once you're big enough in Australia, you head off overseas and show them what you got. So it's the thing.
So why, just not knowing the answer to this question at all, why would you choose Britain over America, for example?
Because you're much better looking here in England.
Very good of you to say so, and also true.
Because you know what, we're heading to America next year, and but we've been to America mainly just to party and see the scene. We tried to get as many gigs as we could, but this is where a lot of Australian bands have done it before, and UK and especially Europe as well are rock centric. In America, a lot of Australian music, Australia listens to American music, so we know what Americans listen to, and we don't like a lot of it. So we know the rock and roll scene is definitely over here. So this is stop number one, and we'll head off to America next year, and we'll give them our best. But we're here now to show them what Aussies do.
Yeah, you sounding pretty good, and like you say, it's got quite a British feel to your sound, hasn't it? Really, I don't know.
There's there's a lot of we take influences from everywhere, but I mean the British scene and even the Europe scene is huge for rock and roll. I mean, you've got some of the biggest festivals in the world here, like Download and Sonosphere, and definitely they're bigger than anything in Australia and America that we can think of. So if that's happening here, we've got to be here to experience it.
So you hope, have you played? You've not played Sony or Download before, or have you? I don't
Stay
know.
tuned.
Hey, ooh.
Can't say much, but stay tuned.
Oh, brilliant.
That's not an exclusive. That's a wink.